Bad joke. Bad joke. I am in the car, but I am not driving. Just want to make sure everybody is here. I had to wait to go live to make sure I made it down the canyon because Summit County is up in the mountains, and it's kind of very isolated. Not very, but it's close to Park City, but as far as good lodging or whatever, it's kind of up higher in the mountain, about 40 minutes from Salt Lake, and that's where the Kouri Richins Evidentiary hearing was held today. I still don't see that anybody is on here, so I want to make sure I'm going live. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are here and you can hear me. There we go. Okay, I see someone's here. Hello. All right, and I don't know if anybody heard the beginning, but I just concluded at Kouri Richins Evidentiary hearing. I just came down the canyon. Want to give you guys the latest. First off, it was interesting. I'll start with the good stuff. This is interesting. We're going to talk about some good stuff right now, including the walk the dog letter that everyone knows about. But I will say this. It sort of was an anticlimactic ending because the judge made no decision on the motions whether to include or make some of this evidence admissible in court that the defense was arguing shouldn't be for different reasons. So before lunch, which I talked about during my lunch live, I was saying that the defense was arguing that, look, these search warrants weren't handled properly, and hey, I don't really think that they don't really think that Kouri Richins should be allowed to, or Kouri Richins' cell phone should be allowed in trial, and all of the evidence found on her cell phone because she didn't know her rights. It was bold because that is a lot of evidence. We all know the evidence that is found on cell phones, and it was a lot of evidence. And if you want more information on that, head to my lunch live. But after lunch, we got to the walk the dog letter. Very interesting moment. We were able to see a video inside the jail as they were searching Kouri Richins' cell number 4 in the jail. They did not show that on, they didn't allow the pool camera to take footage of this video, but we were all able to watch it. And the 2 law enforcement officers that searched testified. And it was actually a deputy sergeant, or an administrative sergeant, and Thomas, and then Barrett, who was a corrections officer. And what was most interesting is, you know how we all think that this walk the dog letter, and for those that are new to the walk the dog letter was a letter found in 2023 in Kouri Richins' cell that actually kind of explained how her brother should testify, that he should say A, B, C, and D. We also learned why they went searching in her cell. I'll tell you that in a second. But we all thought this walk the dog letter was found in a manila envelope, right? And that on top of the manila envelope, it said attorney-client privilege. At least that's what I thought. That's what I've been thinking this whole time in the Kouri Richins case. And so there was question. I thought, of course they're going to say this shouldn't be in trial because it was attorney-client privilege. Well, it turns out that first off, on the manila envelope, Sky Lazzaro's name, Kouri Richins' previous attorney, her name was on the manila envelope, but it never said it was attorney-client privilege. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. It never says attorney-client privilege, just Sky Lazzaro's name on the manila envelope. I'm like, but it could still be argued attorney-client privilege, right? Well, then we hear testimony from both Barrett and Thomas that the walk the dog letter wasn't even found in that manila envelope. We think that it was found in that manila envelope because I'm pretty sure the recorded phone call between Lisa Darden, Kouri Richins' mother, and Kouri was stating that there was a letter in a manila envelope, but both Thomas and Barrett testified that it wasn't found in the manila envelope. It was found tucked between the pages of an LSAT book that was on Kouri Richins' bed. That is where the walk the dog letter was found. I can't tell. I almost feel like the defense was surprised by that. I couldn't tell if they knew or not. It almost felt like they were trying to get him to say it was found in this manila envelope, and in the end, they both testified that it wasn't. That changes everything for me when it comes to that letter. Because this whole time I was thinking, oh yeah, that's attorney-client privilege. No. wasn't even found in the manila envelope labeled Sky Lazaro. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think that's really interesting, because not what I had thought. This is why it was searched. So the search of Kouri Richins' cell was, it was September 13th. There were actually 3 searches, we learned. 2 on September 13th, 2023. The reason for the first 2 searches was because she had a medical issue. And in this medical issue, she left her cell. She was being treated. And it is protocol to then search the cell to look for contraband, and before Kouri goes back in to the jail cell. And so while searching, I don't think they found anything that first time. They saw the manila envelope. They saw some things. She went back. Then there was a second search, because on September 13th, 2023, the second search happened because they had heard of a letter that was talked about with her mother, Lisa Darden. That's what everyone thought the walk the dog letter was, or that she had held it up, right? Like, there was a letter she had held up during a phone call or visit with her mother. So they literally went in to look for that. Well, it turns out that they never found that letter. And they didn't find it that day either. Then they went back to search on September 14th. It was a little confusing about why the 3 searches happened. There was one, again, they were like going back to look for the letter again. I think that's what it was. Like, go back and look for the letter again. So they go back and they look for the letter. Still don't find the letter. But they look in this LSAT book and they find the walk the dog letter. And again, nothing labeled attorney-client privilege. I'm with someone here in the car because, again, I'm going live and I wasn't driving and we're parked now. But I do want to ask you, do you feel like the defense was almost surprised by that? Like, do you think they were expecting it to have been found in the manila envelope? Because they spent so much time with the questioning in the manila envelope. Like,
I think they were surprised, and then that's why I think they shifted so much to the cell video, or the video, because then they were saying, like, well, we can't see you pulling out of the LSAT book and things like that, because I think that they really thought that this was the manila envelope, and they were supposed to play the call between Kouri and her mom. They were going to, and then I don't really know why, but they never did play it, but that was going to be played, and that was where they got this idea.
So there you go. That's Grayson, by the way. Grayson helps me a lot, and so there you go. Yeah, I think you just nailed it. Right. They were like pushing, like, we're seeing you search a manila envelope. Well, and it was actually, Barrett said he searched the manila envelope, but Thomas maintained he never searched the manila envelope. Is that right?
He was going through the books and the paper and like some papers on the top bunk.
Yeah, right. He's like, no, I never searched it. I never saw it. But they both, no, he did see it, but he saw it because they both maintained it had Sky Lazaro's name on it, again, her previous attorney, but never did it say attorney-client privilege on it. So that was, I just thought that was really interesting to learn more about that letter, because of course they don't want that to be in, the trial either. I actually thought the arguments were better before lunch when it came to saying that Kouri didn't know her rights when she handed her cell phone over to detectives during the search of the house and of her. I thought those arguments held more weight than today when they argued the walk the dog letter. I was like, oh dang, like, yeah, that's going to be entered into trial. That was my thought. But going back to what I said, no decision was made today. In fact, I was like, are you kidding me? Because we went late. It was almost 6 p.m. Judge Mrazek was continuing. He's like, how long is this going to go? I've got till 6, guys. I've got till 6. Let's keep going. By the way, if anybody's watched any of the Kouri Richins live streams, we all know Judge Mrazek sounds like if you were like trying to cast like a cartoon, if you're like trying to cast a cartoon, you're like, we need, and like God was in the cartoon, or maybe King Titan or Gaston, it would be Judge Mazrek's voice. Like I don't know if he's going to get, like, he's got this like very commanding low voice. But it's funny because he's actually a really relaxed judge with this voice. And so at the end, he was just kind of like, hurry it up, guys. And I was waiting for a decision, but he's pretty much like, we're not going to meet again until February 11th. And then at one point, February
3rd. They went back and forth.
No, February 3rd, but February 3rd is jury questionnaire, but there was a February 11th meeting. But then they have jury questionnaire on February 3rd, the beginning of jury questionnaire. And so once the judge said, let's meet back on February 11th, then the defense is like, well, hold up, shouldn't we push back the jury questionnaires till after that? And the judge was like, well, I mean, are your questions going to change? And then she was like, good point. No, our questions won't change. He's like, okay, so again, the jury questionnaires will begin February 3rd, WebEx. And then, so they were concluding, and then Judge Mrazek looked at Kouri, and he said, Ms. Richins, good luck. I'll see you February 3rd. And that was it. Am I back? I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, or I had it on phone Do Not Disturb, and then I took it off. Am I back? Sorry about that, guys. So, I agree. I think the judge already knows his decision too. I also thought it was really interesting how he just kind of looked at her and said, good luck. He didn't say it condescending or anything. I just thought it was kind of an interesting note to end on. Like, Ms. Richins, good luck. I'll see you February 3rd. And then I was sitting in the jury box. There were really only 4 of us sitting in the jury box. The jury box is for media, so we can see all of the faces and everything. Not every reporter chose to be in the jury box, so there were more reporters than 4 of us, but not many. It was not the most crowded courtroom. Although I will say this, it was mostly family. The Richins family is very large. They are always there supporting. And then you had Lisa Darden there, and then you had Kouri Richins' family there. And that took up most of the courtroom, just a handful of reporters. But what I was going to say is, so Gwyneth Paltrow's ski trial was held in the same room. And for that, there would be like 2 people in the courtroom. For Kouri Richins' courtroom, it's always very full. So anyway, yeah, so that's the latest. I do think that there were some good arguments made before lunch, and some interesting things testified to when it comes to the walk the dog letter. Anyway, I better get going. I actually am getting some calls from some reporters, and I need to take those calls. But that's the latest. Yeah. So I'll be keeping you guys posted, and I'll let you guys know if I appear anywhere tonight. I might share a few of the things I noticed in court later tonight. And then I just want to say too, what I was going to say is really interesting is, so Kouri's there, and as we leave, the media leaves first. She was standing up. Kouri Richins was standing up, and she hadn't left the room, and they let us leave, and like, we walk right by her. Like, I could have touched her. Not that I ever would, but like, it's very interesting just how close we are as we leave the courtroom to Kouri Richins. So, something interesting. All right, guys, we'll see ya. Bye-bye.